We have all heard of endangered species before. Whether it be in school or from the news, we are all familiar with that term. But have you ever heard of one of the most endangered marine mammals in the world, living right here in the United States?
Well, not right in the United States. It's living in an ocean away. Meet the Hawaiian monk seal. A rare, fascinating, and seriously vulnerable species that calls the Hawaiian Archipelago its home. The Hawaiian monk seal is a unique type of seal found only in the Hawaiian Islands. Unlike the typical seal that live in the icy environments, they live in tropical environments, and they're known for their calm, monk-like appearance, hence the name. Despite their calm, peaceful life, their survival is anything but easy. They were hunted towards near extinction in the 19th century during seal hunting expeditions, and their population has been declining ever since. Recent conservation efforts by organizations like NOAA and local wildlife rehab centers have caused a recent uptick in their population.
So why do we care? Well, the Hawaiian monk seal is a keystone species in the Hawaiian chain islands. The monachus, I think that's how you pronounce it, are earless seals, and they are the only earless seal species found in the tropics. The monk seals are a part of the genus Monachus, I think. The Hawaiian monk seal is one of two extant monk seal species. The other one is the Mediterranean monk seal. A third species, the Caribbean monk seal, is extinct, sadly. They are characterized by their V-shaped hind flippers. Monk seal pups are also brown and black, and adults are dark gray, and they have like brown aboves, paler or whitish bottoms. Gotta blend in with the ocean. They tend to be around 6 to 10 feet long, and they weigh around 500 to 600 pounds. They are protected under the Endangered Species Act. It was designated by the Hawaiian monk seal as endangered in 1976, and they are protected and classified as depleted throughout their entire range under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. The final ruling took place in 2015. Monk seals are additionally listed under Apex 1 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, otherwise known as CITES. Appendix 1 lists species are the most endangered among CITES listed animals and plants. They are threatened with extinction, and CITES prohibits international trade in specimens of these species, except when the purpose of the import is not commercial. So, for instance, if you were to transport a monk seal across international waters for research. Monk seals have also been extensively hunted for fur, oil, and meat, and all three species are listed as endangered in the Red Book data. The Caribbean or Western Indian monk seal was thought to be extinct by early 1970s. The surviving species, both in danger of extinction, are the Mediterranean monk seal and the Hawaiian monk seal. So to understand what's going on with monk seals, we have to understand their background. Monk seals are not picky. They feed on a wide variety of prey, depending on what's available. This can include anything from fish to squid to octopus, eels and crustaceans like crabs, shrimp, even lobsters. I gotta get a little bougie sometimes. Their habitat spans throughout the entire Hawaiian archipelago, a distance of 1,500 miles from the Kure Atoll in the northwest of Hawaii Island and the southeast. Monk seals live in warm subtropical waters and spend most of their time, about 2/3 of it, at sea. They use many areas of water. This includes the surrounding atolls on islands and many of the lower, shallower regions.
So, while the monk seal spends most of its life at sea, they rely on coastal habitats for critical parts of its life, such as resting, molting, and rearing pups. They typically choose sandy, sheltered beaches to get protection from strong waves and predators. And these beaches are also integral in other endangered species life cycles, such as the Hawaiian green sea turtle, which is an endemic subpopulation of the green sea turtle, only found in the Hawaiian Archipelago.
However, these preferred habitats are becoming increasingly threatened by environmental changes across the Hawaiian Islands. Rising sea levels are gradually destroying beaches everywhere, and it is reducing the amount of dry land available for seals to haul out and care for their young. In some areas, this erosion is worsened by human activities, such as coastal development, and they can really disrupt natural sand movement, which limits the ability of beaches to recover.
At the same time, more frequent and intense storms, which is typically driven by climate change, can influence the erosion of these beaches, sometimes destroying complete islands, such as the Whale Skate Island and Trig Islands after Hurricane Walaka in 2019, or the complete disappearance of East Island after continued erosion in 2018.
As a result, the combination of higher sea levels, stronger storm patterns, and human impact is shrinking and degrading the very coastal environments that monk seals rely on for survival, making habitat loss one of the most serious threats to these species.
Malnutrition is a natural cause of death for monk seals, especially in the young pups. However, the causes that influence the increased rates of malnutrition is not natural, such as increased competition for prey and just the decline of prey species due to climate change. Most of the prey species that monk seals feed on live in coral reefs, and coral reefs themselves are under threat by climate change. Warming ocean temps can cause repeated bleaching events, as is seen in the Great Barrier Reef, and will kill these corals, destroying the habitats that the monk seals need to survive. So what can be done to help protect these beach environments? There are programs for beach nourishment and beach restoration that'll help supplement sand to weaken beaches. The way these programs work is they transport sand from other locations and they help restore sand that has been eroded away. Hawaii's Department of Land and Natural Resources offers small-scale beach nourishment program, and these are permits given to landowners to help restore these beaches as an alternative to beach hardening. Beach hardening helps protect the beaches themselves, they help protect the shoreline themselves, but they don't protect the beach for the animals. They just harden the shoreline to keep it from going back further for urban development. So the SSBN offered by the DLNR is split up into two categories. Category 1 is an offer of 500 cubic yards of carbonate sand, while Category 2 is 10,000 yards. This program helped restore the Waikiki Beach in 2021. It helped place 21,700 cubic yards of sand using a sand recycling method where they pump sand that has been eroded from the beach, they pump it back to the same beach. The whole project cost around $3.5 million, and that was taxpayer money. And this is part of an ongoing project to repeat this sand recycling program every 5 to 10 years to upkeep this beach. It's 3 letters, why can't I? In addition to these beach nourishment program, rehab facilities can also directly aid these monk seals. Rehab facilities such as Keikaiola can take injured monk seals, rehabilitate them, and release them into the environment. This is not a sustainable conservation method, as it does not ensure that the species can survive on its own. However, it does prevent the species from declining further.
In addition to restoring beaches, another way that we can help decrease competition and therefore help the monk seal survive are restoring corals. And you might ask, well, we should be doing that anyways. How is that going to help the monk seal? Well, here's the thing. Coral reefs are incredibly important and they are incredibly fragile. They are the foundation for many different tropical ecosystems. When the coral reef is healthy, they support tons of fish and other marine life. And those fish, that is food for many different species in the water, including monk seals. So when coral reefs start to die off, the entire food chain gets weaker, and the seals have to compete more just to survive. The coral reef around Hawaii is becoming increasingly distressed. Healthy corals are some of the most biologically diverse and economically valuable ecosystems on Earth. They provide jobs, food for animals, recreational attraction for humans, cultural significance, and other important services to billions of people worldwide. In 2019, Hawaii's coral reefs were valued at $863 million per year, but they are at risk of degradation. This degradation raises flood risks by increasing the exposure of coastal communities to storms, which we went over. They need those beaches to survive. The Hawaiian coral reefs have experienced bleaching events as recently as 2014 and 2015. In these events, up to 50% of the coral died in some locations due to temperatural effects from climate change. They cannot recover. In these events, up to 50% of the reef died in some locations due to temperature effects from climate change. Combining the bleaching events with other factors stressing the corals, such as population density, increased coastal development, land development, sources of pollution, increased sediments in the water, damage by tourists and divers, poor water quality from runoff and sewage treatment, and overfishing, the reefs are under a tremendous amount of stress. Reef restoration, however, is the process of collecting detached corals, broken figments or fully grown colonies, and growing them in coral nurseries. Scientists will go out, collect pieces of coral, and bring them back to these nurseries. And they are much more common than you would ever think they are. A lot of aquariums and zoos actually have these things, and a lot of colleges do too. It's where they get corals for those really bright tanks at the aquariums that you see. Even aquariums not near coral reefs take part in this effort. The National Aquarium in Baltimore has its very own reef that it collects. And once these corals are sufficiently grown inside the coral nurseries, they are then reattached to the reefs with cement, zip ties, nails, anything that won't pollute the water. There are over 20 active coral nurseries that provide 40,000 healthy corals for reef restoration in the Caribbean. And active reef restoration is relatively new in the Pacific Islands, such as Hawaii, Guam, and American Samoas. I think that's how it's pronounced. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm very sorry. And although this is a great plan, it is not a fix-all. It's a Band-Aid. They help buy time until a more permanent plan is made to decrease temps and stabilize the ocean. Corals do tend to come back after bleaching events, but it takes time, almost 10 plus years to actually truly bloom again. And due to El Niños, insert source here for El Niños, they are getting increasingly more difficult to come back after those events. There is still hope for these animals, though. With the current coral restoration efforts mixed with the new regulations surrounding sunscreen and coral reef tours that disturb the fragile ecosystem, the reefs do have a very real chance of recovering and therefore have a very real chance of reestablishing that very strong ecosystem where it allows all of these predators to feed freely without competition with each other. The most recent projects in Hawaii are incredibly successful. They have restored beaches almost to its former glory, and a lot of the corals are coming back, or at least maintaining their current spread. It is incredible what we can do when we actually put our minds to it. And it is not just scientists who help them. Other people can do stuff too. You can help them. You can track monk seal sightings and report them, and that helps us understand where they are and their distribution better. You can also go ahead and, if you ever find yourself in Hawaii, volunteer at one of the mammal sites down there, at one of the rehabilitation centers. Do a trash pickup. And it's not just with the monk seal. You can volunteer to do anything to help your environment. You can look at your local aquarium or zoo to see if they have any volunteer programs. You can organize a trash cleanup. You can cut back on single-use plastic that you use. Use eco-friendly alternatives like biodegradable poop bags if you have a dog, or use mineral sunscreen and eco-natural bug spray. There are many things you can do to help. And it may not seem like you're making a difference. You know, how much can one person really do? But it's not just you. And it's never just one person. Thousands of people all around the world are looking for a way to make life better, so why not be one of them?
So here's some links if you're more interested to look into this. This one is the Department of Land and Natural Resources Small-Scale Beach Nourishment Program. This just tells you what it is, what they've done, and gives you some information on how to apply if you're curious or if you want to apply. And this one is the Marine Mammal Center's website. You can donate directly or you can adopt a seal and donate through that. We are also leaving links in the description down below to all of our sources and all of these websites.